Hello, everyone. Welcome to Learn English podcast.
How to manage your time to improve your English. Learn English through podcast. Managing your time to improve your English is one of the most powerful skills you can develop as a young person, because while technology gives you unlimited opportunities, the truth is that without proper time management, all of those resources will go to waste. And many young learners say they want to speak English fluently, but they spend most of their free time scrolling aimlessly on social media, playing games without purpose, or watching videos that do not help them grow. And that is why learning how to manage your time effectively is the secret key that separates successful English learners from those who keep dreaming but never improving. And I want you to imagine your day as a bucket filled with hours. You have 24 hours, no more, no less, and how you use those hours will decide whether your English grows or stays the same. Because every minute is a choice between progress and delay. And if you learn to design your day with intention, you can achieve fluency faster than you ever imagined. And I am not talking about studying English all day long. I am talking about making smart use of your time, combining technology, habits, and consistency. Because just like successful athletes train daily, successful English learners practice daily, even if it is only in small chunks. And this is where podcasts come in as a life-changing tool, because podcasts allow you to learn English while doing other things. And that is the beauty of time management. You do not need to stop your life to study. You need to integrate English into your life. So imagine listening to an English podcast while walking to school, riding the bus, exercising at the gym, or cleaning your room. Instead of wasting those minutes in silence or distractions, you are feeding your brain with English. And slowly, without stress, your listening skills grow stronger, your vocabulary expands, your pronunciation improves, and your brain gets used to the rhythm of the language. And if you make this a daily habit, 1 hour a day of podcast listening equals over 360 hours in 1 year. And that is like taking dozens of English classes, all without paying a teacher. And the secret is not just in listening randomly, but in choosing podcasts that fit your level and interest. Because if the content is too difficult, you will feel lost and give up. But if it is too easy, you will get bored. So you must challenge yourself just enough to grow. And the key to time management is creating a schedule that respects your energy and lifestyle. And I want every young learner listening to this to understand that managing your time is not about finding more time. It is about using the time you already have more wisely. Because every person on this planet has the same 24 hours. And the difference between someone who becomes fluent in English and someone who struggles for years is how they use those hours. And the good news is that you have more time than you think. Because if you calculate the hours you spend on social media, games, or unproductive activities, you will realize you can invest at least 1 or 2 hours every single day in improving your English. And that is more than enough to see massive progress. And the way you do this is by breaking your learning into small, consistent sessions. For example, 20 minutes in the morning listening to an English podcast while getting ready. 20 minutes in the afternoon practicing speaking with an app or repeating what you hear. And 20 minutes in the evening reviewing vocabulary or writing a short reflection. And when you add these up, you already have 1 full hour of quality practice without feeling overwhelmed. And time management is all about discipline, because your brain will always want the easy way. It will tell you to relax, to scroll, to procrastinate. But if you take control and say, no, I will use this moment to learn, you are training not only your English, but also your character. And that discipline will help you in every area of your life. And the best strategy is to link your learning with daily habits. Because when you attach English to something you already do, it becomes automatic. For example, always listening to a podcast while brushing your teeth, always reading an English article before bed, always speaking to yourself in English when walking. And this way, you don't need to force yourself. it becomes a natural part of your lifestyle. And over time, these small habits compound into big results. And let me share something powerful. If you spend just one focused hour every day practicing English, in 1 year, you will have practiced 365 hours. In 2 years, you will have 730 hours. And in 3 years, you will have more than 1,000 hours, which is the level many researchers say is enough for fluency. So the question is not whether you can learn English. The question is whether you can manage your time and stay consistent long enough to reach that level. And the answer is yes, if you make English your daily priority. And podcasts are one of the easiest and most flexible tools to make that happen because they fit into your schedule. They don't require a classroom. They don't require money. They just require your attention. And the more you listen, the more your brain adapts to the language. And slowly, you will notice that you start understanding sentences without translating. You start remembering expressions without effort. You start thinking in English naturally. And that is the result of time well managed. And I want you to realize that you don't need perfect conditions to improve. You don't need to travel abroad. You don't need to wait until you're free. Because if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, it will never come. The perfect moment is now. The perfect tool is already in your pocket. And the perfect plan is to start small, but never stop. And that is what time management is all about. Not perfection, but consistency. Not intensity for 1 week and then quitting, but steady practice every day. And if you can master this, your English will grow automatically because your brain learns best when it receives input regularly. And podcasts give you that constant input, like music for your brain, slowly training your ear, shaping your pronunciation, and building your confidence. And this is why I believe that young people who master their time will master their English. And those who waste their time will always complain, but never improve. So the choice is yours. Your future fluency is hidden in your daily schedule. And if you manage it wisely, you can achieve anything. And when you start to see time as your most valuable currency, you will begin to protect it with more care. Because every hour you waste is an hour you can never get back. But every hour you invest in English brings you closer to fluency, closer to confidence, closer to opportunities that can change your future. And one of the biggest mistakes young people make is believing they are too busy to learn. They say school takes too much time, homework takes too much time, or they are too tired. But the truth is that most of the time is lost in small pieces, wasted on scrolling, chatting, or doing things that bring no value. And if you can correct those small pieces and turn them into learning moments, you will be amazed by the results. Because time management is not about adding more hours. It is about transforming the hours you already have. And one of the smartest ways to transform your time is by creating what I call English zones in your day. And these are specific parts of your routine where English becomes the default choice. For example, your morning zone can be listening to a motivational English podcast while preparing breakfast. Your afternoon zone can be practicing a speaking app during your break. Your evening zone can be watching a short English video before bed. And these zones are not long, but when repeated every day, they build a rhythm. And rhythm creates consistency. And consistency builds fluency. Because the brain loves routine. And when English becomes part of your routine, it stops feeling like a task and starts feeling like a natural part of life. And this is where podcasts are so powerful because they fit into any zone. You can make them your background companion while walking, running, cleaning, or traveling. And slowly, without pressure, you are learning. And that is the secret to time management. Using hidden time, using waiting time, using travel time, because those minutes may seem small, but they add up to hours. And hours add up to fluency. And many learners think they need to study for 2 or 3 hours in one block. But that is not true. Because even if you only have 10 minutes, if you use it wisely, those 10 minutes can build your English step by step. And the truth is that small, consistent practice is more powerful than rare, long study sessions because the brain remembers better when it receives daily input. And podcasts are designed exactly for that, to give you short but powerful bursts of English that you can repeat anytime. And this flexibility is what makes time management possible for anyone, no matter how busy.
Another important principle of time management is prioritization, because not all activities are equal. And as a young learner, you must decide what matters most, because if you treat everything as important, you will feel overwhelmed and end up doing nothing. But if you identify the few actions that give you the biggest results, you can focus your time on those. And when it comes to English, the high-value activities are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And out of these, listening is the foundation, because without listening, you cannot understand, and without understanding, you cannot speak. So listening to podcasts should be a top priority because it builds your comprehension and prepares your brain for speaking. And then speaking practice should follow, because the more you use your voice, the faster you overcome fear and the more natural English becomes. And this is where you must be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, am I spending more time on low-value activities like memorizing endless grammar rules, or am I focusing on listening and speaking, which bring me closer to fluency? And when you make listening and speaking your priorities, you use your time in the smartest way possible, because these skills accelerate all others, and if you organize your day around them, your English will grow much faster. And this is the essence of time management, putting first things first, giving energy to what matters most. And podcasts make this easy, because they are a direct connection to real English, spoken naturally, full of rhythm, emotion, and culture. And when you listen daily, you are not only learning words, you are training your ear, your memory, and your brain to think differently. But let us talk about another enemy of time, distraction. Because in today's world, distraction is everywhere. Notifications, messages, games, videos. And if you're not careful, your day will disappear into small pieces of distraction, leaving you with no progress. And that is why if you want to manage your time, you must also manage your attention, because time without attention is wasted. And one of the best techniques is to set boundaries. For example, deciding that during the first hour after you wake up, you will not open social media, but instead listen to an English podcast. Or deciding that before bed you will not waste time scrolling, but instead read or listen in English. And these small boundaries protect your focus and turn your limited time into valuable learning time. And another technique is to use timers. For example, setting a 20-minute timer and focusing only on English until it rings. And this helps you stay disciplined and prevents distraction. And if you do this daily, you will be shocked at how much you can learn in such short but focused sessions. And podcasts make this even easier, because most episodes are around 10 to 20 minutes, perfect for a focus session. And when the episode ends, you can stop or continue, but either way, you have invested your time wisely. And that habit will keep growing until learning becomes part of who you are. Now, let us think bigger. Managing your time is not only about daily schedules, it is also about long-term vision. Because young people often underestimate how much they can achieve in 1 year with consistent practice, and they overestimate what they can do in 1 week with extreme effort. And this is why so many give up, because they try too hard for a short time, then lose motivation. But if you spread your energy wisely over months and years, you will see transformation. And here is the truth. Fluency is not built in a week, but it can be built in 1 to 3 years if you manage your time well. And that is not a long time, because 3 years will pass anyway. The question is whether you will spend them wasting time or investing in your English. And if you decide today to make podcasts and daily practice part of your schedule, 3 years from now, you will look back and thank yourself, because you will be fluent, confident, and ready for opportunities that others only dream of. And this is why time management is also about patience, because real growth takes time. And when you accept that, you stop looking for shortcuts and start building habits that last. And podcasts are perfect for building this patience, because they remind you daily that learning is a journey, not a race. And if you walk this journey with discipline, you will arrive sooner than you think. And I want to give you a clear example. Imagine two young learners, both with the same dream of speaking English fluently. The first learner studies randomly, sometimes spending 3 hours in one day, then doing nothing for a week, distracted by social media, wasting time, waiting for motivation. And after a year, this learner feels frustrated because progress is slow. But the second learner practices 1 hour every single day, listening to podcasts while walking, repeating sentences while exercising, reading 5 minutes before bed, and never skipping a day. And after 1 year, this learner has more than 365 hours of practice. Their ear is trained, their confidence is stronger, and their fluency is growing naturally. And the difference between the two is not intelligence, not talent, but time management. Because the second learner turned small daily moments into practice while the first wasted them. And this example shows you that your future depends not on how much time you have, but on how you use the time you already have. And this should inspire you because it means you're in control. You don't need to wait for a better school, a better teacher, or more free time. You just need to take charge of your schedule and make English a daily priority. And podcasts are the easiest tool to make that happen. And when you begin to see that managing your time is really about managing your life, you will no longer treat English learning as something separate, but as something woven into the fabric of your day. And that shift in mindset is powerful, because instead of asking, when will I find time to learn English, you will start asking, how can I turn the time I already have into English practice? And the moment you change that question, solutions appear everywhere. Because English is not only something you study, it is something you live. And podcasts are the bridge between study and life, because they bring English into your ears while you are living your normal day. And that is how time management becomes natural, because you no longer need to stop your life to learn, you learn while living. And this is the secret that many young people miss. They believe that learning requires huge blocks of study time, when in reality, it requires consistency. And consistency requires smart time use. And if you want to become fluent, you must build this habit of finding English in your ordinary minutes, because the ordinary minutes create extraordinary results when multiplied across months and years. And this principle is true not only for English, but for all success, because time is the great equalizer. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but some waste it and some invest it. And those who invest wisely grow. And if you, as a young learner, decide today that your time is too valuable to waste, you will be years ahead of those who do not, because while they are scrolling endlessly, you are building skills that will open doors. And while they are complaining they have no opportunities, you are preparing yourself to recognize and seize them. And while they are stuck in the same place, you will be moving forward, step by step, podcast by podcast, day by day, until suddenly you realize you are not the same person you were before. Your English is flowing, your confidence is shining, and your opportunities are multiplying. And that is the gift of time management. It turns invisible minutes into visible transformation.
But of course, time management also requires discipline, because knowing how to use your time is useless if you do not actually apply it. And this is where most people fail, because they know what to do, they know they should listen to English daily, they know they should reduce distraction, but they do not act. And this is why you must train your discipline like a muscle. And the easiest way to do that is to start small. For example, committing to just 10 minutes of English podcasts every day, no matter what, and protecting those 10 minutes like gold. Because once you succeed with small habits, you can grow them. And slowly, 10 minutes becomes 20, then 30, then an hour. And before you realize, English is a natural part of your daily schedule. And discipline becomes easier because habits remove the need for motivation. You no longer need to fight yourself because your body and mind already expect English at that time. And this is why starting small is powerful, because it builds momentum. And momentum is the force that carries you forward even when you feel tired, even when you feel busy, because the habit is stronger than the excuse. And if you master this discipline now as a young learner, it will not only improve your English, it will improve every part of your life. Because the same discipline that teaches you to listen to podcasts daily will also teach you to work hard, to focus, to achieve goals. And this is why time management is more than a language skill. It is a life skill. And by learning it through English, you are preparing yourself for everything else you will face in the future. And let us not forget one more important thing: balance. Because good time management is not about working every second of the day. It is about balancing work, rest, and growth. Because if you push yourself too hard, you will burn out. And burnout kills motivation. And many learners quit because they try to do too much too fast. But real growth comes from sustainable effort. And sustainable effort comes from balance. So make sure that while you dedicate time to English, you also dedicate time to sleep, to health, to exercise, to family, because all of these give you the energy to continue learning. And this is another reason why podcasts are so effective, because they allow you to combine learning with relaxation. You can enjoy a story, a motivational talk, or a conversation in English while walking in nature, while drinking tea, while resting your body. And this balance keeps your mind fresh, your spirit motivated, and your progress consistent. And if you maintain this balance, you will never feel like English is a burden. Instead, it will be a joy, something that gives you energy instead of taking it away. And that is the best way to guarantee long-term success. So now let us bring everything together, because we have talked about hidden minutes, about prioritization, about distraction, about patience, about discipline, about balance. And all of these come back to one central truth: your time is your most valuable resource, and how you use it will decide who you become. And as a young learner, you are in the perfect moment of life to make this decision, because you still have the energy, the curiosity, and the future ahead of you. And if you decide today to manage your time wisely and invest it into English, you will create opportunities that last a lifetime. And remember, English is not just a language. It is a passport to the world. It is the key to better education, better jobs, better connections, and bigger dreams. And podcasts are one of the most powerful, flexible, and enjoyable tools to help you unlock that key. And if you combine them with strong time management, you will accelerate your progress more than you ever imagined. And 3 years from now, you will look back and say, "I am so grateful I started when I did. I am so grateful I did not waste my time. I am so grateful I used every minute wisely." Because your fluency will be proof of your discipline, and your success will be proof of your time management. And when others ask you how you did it, you will be able to say with confidence, "I learned to manage my time. I learned to use my minutes. I learned to make podcasts my daily habit." And that made all the difference. And that is the ultimate conclusion. If you want to improve your English, do not only study harder, study smarter. Manage your time like it is your treasure, because it truly is. And once you understand that, there is no limit to how far your English and your life can go.